The email from Chase Bank landed in my inbox on a Tuesday morning. Subject line, important notice regarding account ending in 4729. I don't have an account ending in 4729. I opened it. Personal loan disbursement confirmed. $78,000. My signature at the bottom of the application, except I never signed it. I stared at the screen for 90 seconds. Then I called the fraud department, and before my father knew I'd found out, the bank investigator had already pulled 3 more documents, all with my signature, all forged. One of them was a beneficiary change form that removed me from my mother's life insurance policy entirely. My father forged my signature on a $78,000 loan. Then he forged it again on insurance paperwork, on beneficiary forms, on documents I didn't even know existed. And the whole time, I was living under his roof, eating dinner at his table, believing he was just going through a rough financial patch. The bank investigator told me I had 2 choices: press charges or accept liability for a debt I never agreed to. If I did nothing, my credit would be destroyed before I turned 30. If I reported him, he'd face felony fraud charges. I didn't confront him. I worked with the bank, and what they found in the next 72 hours didn't just uncover fraud. It revealed a pattern that had been running for years. I need to take you back 18 months to understand how I missed it. I was 27, living in a studio apartment in Denver, working as a financial analyst at a mid-size investment firm. My father, Michael, lived 3 hours away in Colorado Springs. We talked maybe twice a month, casual calls, how's work, how's the weather, surface level. He'd been struggling financially since 2021 when his contracting business went under. I knew that. What I didn't know was how bad it had gotten, or more accurately, I didn't ask. In March of 2025, he called and asked if I'd be willing to cosign a small personal loan, $5,000, just to cover some medical bills while he waited for insurance reimbursement. He said he'd pay me back in 60 days. I said no, not because I didn't trust him, but because I'd just read 3 articles that week about cosigning risks. He said he understood. We hung up. That was it. Except it wasn't. The Chase Bank investigator's name was Vanessa Torres. When I called the fraud hotline that Tuesday morning, she answered on the second ring. Her voice was calm, methodical, the kind of tone that tells you she's done this before. "Walk me through what you're seeing," she said. I read her the email, loan disbursement, $78,000, account number I didn't recognize, signature that looked like mine but wasn't. "When did you first notice this?" she asked. 10 minutes ago. "Have you spoken to anyone else about it?" "No." "Good, not yet." She put me on hold for 90 seconds. When she came back, her tone had shifted. Not alarm, but focus. "I'm looking at the application now," she said. "It was submitted electronically on February 9th, signed with a digital signature using your name, social security number, and an email address that's 1 letter off from yours. Instead of your actual email, jessica.brennan@gmail, it's jessica.brennan@gmail. No way." I felt my stomach drop. The loan was approved on February 12th. Funds were disbursed to an external account on February 14th. Do you know who has access to your personal information? I didn't answer right away, because the answer was obvious, and saying it out loud would make it real. My father. Vanessa didn't react. She just said, "I'm going to need you to come into a branch today and file a formal fraud affidavit. Bring any documentation you have, copies of your ID, recent bank statements, anything that proves you didn't authorize this. Can you do that?" "Yes." "One more thing. If this was done by a family member, you need to understand what happens next. Once you file the affidavit, we're legally required to investigate. If we determine fraud occurred, we report it. That means law enforcement gets involved. Are you prepared for that?" I sat in my car in the parking lot of my office building, staring at the dashboard. "I don't know. Take an hour, think about it. But if you don't file, the debt stays in your name. And based on what I'm seeing, this might not be the only one." That sentence landed like a punch. "What do you mean?" I can't say more until you file the affidavit, but I'd recommend you pull your credit report today. All 3 bureaus. Look for anything you don't recognize. I filed the affidavit at 2:15 that afternoon at a Chase branch on Spear Boulevard. Vanessa met me there in person. Mid-40s, gray blazer, reading glasses on a chain. She walked me through every page. This document states that you did not authorize the loan, that the signature is not yours, and that you're requesting a full investigation. Once you sign, we move forward. Understood. I signed. She made 3 copies, one for me, one for the bank, one for what she called the investigative file. Now, she said, let's see what else is out there. She pulled up my credit report on her computer, Experian first, then Equifax, then TransUnion. It took less than 5 minutes to find the second document. A credit card, opened in my name in October of 2024. Balance of $14,600. Billing address in Colorado Springs, my father's address. I never applied for that, I said. Vanessa made a note. Keep going. The third document appeared on the TransUnion report. A beneficiary designation change form filed with my mother's life insurance company, Mutual of Omaha, in January of 2025. The form removed me as the primary beneficiary and replaced me with my father. My mother had died 4 years earlier, breast cancer. She'd left me as the sole beneficiary on a $250,000 policy, specifically because she didn't trust my father with money. She'd told me that explicitly 3 weeks before she passed. This one, Vanessa said quietly, this one's different. This isn't just financial fraud. This is estate interference. I stared at the screen. How many more are there? I don't know yet, but I'm going to find out. She scheduled a follow-up meeting for Thursday. 2 days. In the meantime, she said, do not contact your father. Do not tell him you know. If he's monitoring your accounts or your email, any indication that you're investigating will give him time to cover tracks. What if he calls me? Let it go to voicemail. I drove home in silence. I didn't cry. I didn't call anyone. I sat on my couch and pulled up my email archive. I searched for any messages from my father in the last 6 months. There were 12. Most of them were short. Checking in, hope you're well. One from January caught my attention. Subject line, quick favor. I opened it. Hey Jess, I need to update some paperwork for your mom's old insurance policy. They're saying the beneficiary form is outdated and needs a new signature. Can you send me a high-res scan of your driver's license and a photo of your signature on a blank piece of paper, just for their records? Thanks, Dad. I'd sent it to him, January 18th, a scan of my license, a photo of my signature on printer paper. He'd used it to forge the beneficiary change form. I closed my laptop. I didn't sleep that night. Thursday morning, Vanessa called me before our meeting. We found a 4th document. The 4th document was a quitclaim deed. Filed with the El Paso County Recorder's Office on December 3rd, 2024. It transferred my mother's half of our family home, the house I grew up in, from her estate to my father. Sole ownership. Except my mother's, will specifically left her half to me. Vanessa walked me through it when I arrived at the branch. She had printouts spread across the desk. The deed, the original will, the probate records. Your mother's estate went through probate in 2021, she said. The will was clear. You inherited her 50% ownership of the residence at 4215 Cascade Avenue. Your father retained his 50%. Joint tenancy. I know. I remember signing the paperwork. She slid the quitclaim deed across the table. This document says you transferred your 50% ownership back to your father in December of last year. For $1. It was recorded at the county office. Notarized. Your signature is on it. I've never seen this before. I know. She tapped the notary stamp. This is where it gets worse. The notary listed on the stamp was named Patricia Edelman. Vanessa had already looked her up. Patricia's notary commission had expired in 2022. She hadn't renewed it. That meant the stamp was either forged or used fraudulently after expiration. Vanessa had called Patricia that morning. Patricia confirmed she'd never notarized any document for me. She didn't even know who I was. More importantly, she'd reported her notary stamp stolen in 2023. Your father used a stolen notary stamp to forge a property deed, Vanessa said. That's not just fraud. That's felony forgery and identity theft. I sat there trying to process it. My father had systematically erased me from my mother's estate, the life insurance, the house, $78,000 in loans, a credit card I never opened. How long has this been happening? I asked. Vanessa pulled up a timeline she'd constructed. She'd cross-referenced every document with filing dates, IP addresses from the electronic submissions, and transaction records. The earliest one we've found is the credit card. October 9th, 2024. That's 10 months ago. The most recent is the loan disbursement, February 14th, 12 days ago. 10 months. He'd been doing this for 10 months. But here's what I need you to understand, Vanessa continued. This isn't random. This is methodical. He started with small transactions. The credit card. Tested the system. When that worked, he escalated. The beneficiary change, then the deed, then the loan, each step bigger than the last. She leaned forward. People who commit financial fraud against family members usually do it out of desperation. They take what they need and stop. Your father isn't stopping. He's accelerating, which means either he's in deeper trouble than you know, or he's not planning to stop until there's nothing left to take. I felt my hands go cold. What happens now? Now we involve law enforcement. I've already contacted the El Paso County Sheriff's Office. They're opening an investigation. You'll need to speak with a detective, probably early next week. And I'm recommending you contact an attorney. A state law, criminal defense, maybe both. Will I get the money back? If it's still there, yes, but Vanessa hesitated. The loan funds were transferred to an account at a different bank, Wells Fargo. We've subpoenaed the records, but it takes time. If he's already spent it, recovery becomes harder. And the house. The deed can be challenged, especially with a stolen notary stamp, but you'll need to file a claim in probate court to reverse it. That could take months. I left the meeting with a folder full of documents and a list of attorneys Vanessa had written on the back of her business card. I sat in my car for 20 minutes before I called the first one. His name was David Greenberg, estate and probate litigation. His assistant said he could see me Friday morning. I took the appointment. That night, my father called. I saw his name on my screen. I let it ring. Voicemail. Hey Jess, it's Dad, just checking in. Haven't heard from you in a while. Give me a call when you get a chance. Love you. His voice sounded normal, casual, like nothing was happening. I played it 3 times. Listening for something. Guilt, nervousness, anything, there was nothing. David Greenberg's office was in a low-rise building on Tejon Street. 2nd floor. Wooden furniture. Bookshelves full of legal binders. He was in his 60s, gray beard, reading glasses that he took off when I sat down. Tell me everything, he said. I did, the loan, the credit card, the beneficiary change, the quitclaim deed, the stolen notary stamp. I handed him the folder Vanessa had given me. He read through every page in silence. It took 15 minutes. When he looked up, his expression was grim. This is one of the most comprehensive cases of intrafamily fraud I've seen in 30 years of practice. He explained the legal landscape. I could file a petition to void the quitclaim deed based on forgery. I could sue for damages. I could pursue criminal charges. But all of that required one thing. You have to be willing to go all the way, he said. If you file, your father will know. He'll hire an attorney. This will become public record. If the district attorney picks it up, he could face felony charges. Prison time. Are you prepared for that? I didn't answer right away. What happens if I don't file? Then the deed stands. The house is his. The life insurance is his. You're liable for the loan unless the bank's investigation clears you, which could take a year. Your credit score will be destroyed. And if he's done this once, he'll do it again. David leaned back in his chair. I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest. Do you think your father knows you found out? I don't know, maybe. Because if he does, he's going to move fast. Liquidate assets, transfer money, disappear the evidence. You need to act before he does. I signed a retainer agreement that afternoon. $5,000 deposit. David said he'd file the petition to void the deed by Monday. He also recommended I freeze my credit, change all my passwords, and place a fraud alert with the 3 credit bureaus. I did all of it that night. Saturday morning, I got a text from my father. Hey, tried calling. Everything okay? I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed back. Yeah, just busy with work. Talk soon. He replied immediately. Okay, love you, kiddo. I put my phone face down on the counter. Monday afternoon, David filed the petition in El Paso County Probate Court. Petition to void fraudulent quitclaim deed and restore rightful ownership. My name as petitioner, my father's name as respondent. It became public record at 3:47 p.m. By 6:30, my father called 4 times. I didn't answer. At 7:15, he texted. I just got a call from some attorney. What's going on? I didn't respond. At 8:03, he called again. This time he left a voicemail. Jessica, I don't know what you think is happening, but we need to talk about this. Call me back, now. His voice wasn't casual anymore. Tuesday morning, the El Paso County Sheriff's Office called. Detective Brian Kaminsky. He wanted to meet. I drove to the substation on South Academy Boulevard that afternoon. Kaminsky was in his 40s, buzz cut, plain clothes. We sat in a windowless interview room with a recorder on the table. I'm going to record this, he said, for documentation. Is that okay? Yes. He pressed record and asked me to walk through everything again. I did. The timeline, the documents, the stolen notary stamp. He took notes the entire time. When I finished, he said, we've been in contact with Chase Bank's fraud division. They've provided us with copies of the loan application, the IP address used to submit it, and the account records for where the money went. That account is at Wells Fargo, registered to your father. He's withdrawn $62,000 in cash over the past 2 weeks. My stomach dropped. The rest is still there, Kaminsky continued. About $16,000. We've frozen the account pending the investigation. What about the other documents? We're building a case. The credit card, the beneficiary form, the deed. Each one is a separate count. Forgery, identity theft, theft by deception. We're also looking into the notary stamp. Using a stolen notary seal to forge a legal document is a Class 5 felony in Colorado. He paused. I need to be straight with you. Your father is going to be arrested, probably within the next 2 weeks. Once we complete the investigation and the DA reviews the case, they'll issue a warrant. I wanted you to know that before it happens. I nodded. I couldn't speak. Do you have any contact with him right now? Kaminsky asked. He's been calling and texting. I haven't responded. Good, keep it that way. If he tries to meet with you in person, do not engage. Call me immediately. He handed me his card. One more thing. You mentioned your mother passed in 2021. Was there anyone else named in her will besides you? No, just me. Kaminsky made a note. So your father has been the sole occupant of the house since her death? Yes. And now, legally, if the deed stands, he owns it outright. That's what he thinks. The detective looked at me. When someone does what your father's doing, it's usually because they're planning something bigger. Selling the house, refinancing, clearing out and disappearing. Have you seen any indication he's planning to move? I thought about it. I hadn't been to the house in over a year. We always met for coffee when I visited Colorado Springs, never at the house. I don't know, I said. Kaminsky closed his notebook. I'm going to recommend you drive by. See if there's a for sale sign. Check public records for any new liens or refinance applications. If he's trying to sell that house while this investigation is active, that's another charge. I left the substation and sat in my car. I pulled up Zillow on my phone and typed in the address, 4215 Cascade Avenue. The listing had gone live that morning. For sale, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, listed at $495,000. Photos of the living room I grew up in. The kitchen where my mother used to make pancakes on Sunday mornings. My father's smiling face in the agent photo. He was selling the house. The house my mother left to me. I called David Greenberg from the parking lot. He answered on the first ring. I told him about the listing. He can't do that, I said. The house is in litigation. There's an active fraud investigation. Technically, he can, David said. Until the court voids the deed, he's still listed as the legal owner. But selling it now, while under investigation, is incredibly stupid. It shows intent to liquidate assets. It actually strengthens our case. What do I do? Nothing yet. I'm going to file an emergency motion for a temporary restraining order to block the sale. It'll take a day, maybe 2. In the meantime, do not contact him. Do not go to the house. Let me handle this. I hung up. I didn't go home. I drove to Colorado Springs. I know he told me not to, but I needed to see it. I parked across the street from 4215 Cascade Avenue at 4:30 in the afternoon. The for sale sign was already up. Coldwell Banker. Open house scheduled for Saturday. The house looked the same. Same beige siding. Same brown shutters. Same mailbox my mother painted yellow in 2016 because she said the street needed more color. I sat there for 20 minutes. Then the front door opened. My father stepped out. He was carrying a cardboard box. He loaded it into the bed of his truck, went back inside, came out with another one. He was packing. I pulled out my phone and started recording. I didn't know if it would matter legally, but I filmed him making 4 trips, 4 boxes. Then he got in the truck and drove away. I waited until he turned the corner. Then I called Detective Kaminsky. He's moving out, I said. Kaminsky asked where I was. I told him. Stay there. I'm sending a deputy to document it. Do not approach the house. Do not go inside. A sheriff's deputy arrived 18 minutes later. I showed him the video. He took photos of the for sale sign, the tire tracks in the driveway, the open garage door. Then he asked me something I hadn't considered. Do you still have a key to this house? Somewhere, maybe. If you do, and if you're listed on your mother's will as a partial owner, you have a legal right to enter. Especially if you believe someone is removing your property without authorization. I found the key on my keychain. I hadn't used it in 2 years. The deputy followed me to the door. I unlocked it. The house was half empty. The living room furniture was gone. The dining table. The bookshelf my mother bought at an estate sale in 2012. The framed photos from the hallway, all of it, gone. The deputy walked through with me, taking photos of every room. In the master bedroom, my father's closet was empty. Hangers on the rod, nothing else. In my old bedroom, the one I'd slept in from age 7 to 18, there were boxes stacked against the wall. I opened one. My mother's things, her jewelry box, her wedding album, the quilt her grandmother made, things she'd specifically mentioned in her will that she wanted me to have. He was packing them to take with him. The deputy made a note, photographed the boxes, then he called Kaminsky. I could hear Kaminsky's voice through the phone, muffled but urgent. The deputy nodded, said okay 3 times and hung up. Detective Kaminsky wants you to take your mother's belongings now. Anything listed in her will that's still here. Load it into your car. If your father comes back and they're gone, that's not theft. That's you claiming what's legally yours. I made 6 trips. The quilt, the jewelry box, 2 photo albums, a cedar chest full of her letters, a porcelain tea set she'd inherited from her own mother. I loaded everything into my trunk and back seat. When I finished, the deputy handed me his card. If your father contacts you about this, do not engage. Tell him to contact your attorney. Understood. I drove back to Denver with my mother's belongings in my car and my hands shaking on the steering wheel. That night, my father called 11 times. I didn't answer. He left 2 voicemails. The first one was angry. "Jessica, I know you were at the house today. I don't know what you think you're doing, but you're making a huge mistake. You need to call me back right now, and we need to talk about this like adults." The second one was different, quieter. "Jess, please, I know you're upset. I know this looks bad. But there's a lot you don't understand. Just let me explain. Please call me." I deleted both. Wednesday morning, David filed the emergency motion for a temporary restraining order. By noon, the judge had signed it. The house sale was frozen. The listing was pulled from Zillow by 3 p.m. David called me with the update. "The TRO is in place. Your father can't sell, transfer, or encumber the property until the court rules on the petition to void the deed. We have a hearing scheduled for March 18th, 3 weeks. What happens at the hearing? We present evidence, the forged signature, the stolen notary stamp, the timeline. If the judge rules in our favor, the deed is voided and ownership reverts to you under your mother's will. And if he rules against us? He won't. The evidence is overwhelming." That same afternoon, Detective Kaminsky called. "We executed a search warrant at your father's house this morning. He wasn't there. We seized financial records, a laptop, 2 external hard drives, and a file cabinet full of documents. Our forensic team is going through it now." "Did you find anything?" "Too early to say. But I can tell you we also found evidence he's been staying at a short-term rental in Fountain. We're trying to locate him now for questioning." My father was hiding. Thursday morning, I got an email, not from my father, from someone named Kevin Brennan. The subject line said, "I think we need to talk." I opened it. "Hi, Jessica. My name is Kevin Brennan. I'm your half-brother." I read that sentence 3 times. The email continued. "I know this is going to sound insane, but I found out about you 2 years ago when our father mentioned you during an argument with my mom. He told me you lived in Denver and that your mother had passed away. I didn't reach out because I didn't know if you knew about me, and honestly, I didn't know what to say. But I just saw the court filing, the petition to void the deed, and I need to tell you something. Our father took out a loan against my mom's house too, $40,000, last year. She didn't know about it until the bank started sending notices. When she confronted him, he said he'd pay it back. He never did. She's facing foreclosure now. I think he's done this to more people than just us. If you want to talk, my number is below. Kevin." I sat staring at my screen. My father had another family. I called Kevin 20 minutes later. He picked up on the second ring. He was 31, 4 years older than me. He'd grown up in Pueblo, about 40 miles from Colorado Springs. His mother, Linda, had been in a relationship with my father on and off for 15 years. Kevin didn't know my father was married until he was in high school. "When did your parents separate?" he asked. "They didn't. My dad was living with both of you." Kevin went quiet. "Are you serious?" "My mother died in 2021. They were married for 34 years. Jesus, I thought they'd been divorced since I was a kid. That's what he told us. We compared timelines. My father had been splitting time between 2 households for over a decade. Different lies to different people. Kevin's mother thought he traveled for work. My mother thought he had a fishing cabin he visited on weekends. Kevin told me about the loan against his mother's house. Forged signatures. Same pattern. Linda had filed a police report, but nothing had come of it. Did she ever take him to court? I asked. She couldn't afford an attorney, and honestly, I think she still loved him. She didn't want to send him to jail. Kevin paused. But when I saw your filing, I realized he's not going to stop. He's not going to get help. He's just going to keep doing this until someone makes him stop. I forwarded Kevin's email to Detective Kaminsky and David Greenberg. Within 2 hours, Kaminsky called me back. We're adding Kevin's mother to the investigation. If the pattern holds, there may be others. How many others? I don't know, but we're going to find out. By Friday, the investigation had expanded. Kaminski's team contacted 3 other women who'd had relationships with my father over the past 20 years. 2 of them reported financial irregularities. One had discovered forged checks. Another had lost $12,000 to a fake investment scheme my father had pitched. The district attorney's office formally picked up the case. They assigned a prosecutor, Sarah Ortiz, White-Collar Crimes Division. She called me Friday afternoon. "Miss Brennan, I want you to know we're treating this as a major fraud case. We're looking at multiple counts of forgery, identity theft, theft by deception, and criminal impersonation. Based on the evidence, your father is facing significant prison time if convicted." "How much time?" "Anywhere from 8 to 24 years, depending on how many counts we can prove." I didn't feel relief. I didn't feel vindication. I felt numb. "We're issuing a warrant for his arrest," Ortiz continued. "It'll go out Monday morning. If you hear from him before then, do not meet with him. Do not tell him about the warrant. Call Detective Kaminski immediately." I hung up and sat on my couch. My phone buzzed, a text from my father. "Jess, I'm sorry. I know I messed up, but I need you to understand I was trying to protect you. Please let me explain." I stared at the message. "Protect me? From what?" I didn't respond. I forwarded the text to Kaminski. He replied immediately. "Do not engage. We're moving up the timeline. Warrant goes out tomorrow." Saturday morning, February 29th, the El Paso County Sheriff's Office arrested my father at a budget suites in Fountain, Colorado. Detective Kaminski called me at 9:42 a.m. "We have him in custody. He's being booked now. Arraignment is Monday morning. I wanted you to know before it hits the news." "Is he talking?" "Not yet. He's asked for an attorney." I hung up. I sat down. I cried for the first time since this started. Not because I felt sorry for him, but because the man I thought I knew, the man who taught me to ride a bike and helped me move into my first apartment, had never existed. And I'd just spent 2 weeks proving it. The arraignment was Monday morning at 9 a.m. I didn't go. Sarah Ortiz called me afterward with the details. "Your father pleaded not guilty. Bail was set at $100,000. He posted it." "How?" "His attorney argued he wasn't a flight risk. The judge agreed. 10% cash bond. He's out. So he's just walking around. For now, but he surrendered his passport. He's on GPS monitoring, and he's required to stay in El Paso County. If he violates any of those conditions, the warrant reactivates." I asked the question I'd been avoiding. "Do I have to testify?" "Probably, if this goes to trial, but most cases like this don't. Once defendants see the evidence, they take a plea." The probate hearing for the house was March 18th. I went to that one. The courtroom was small, wood paneling, fluorescent lights. David Greenberg sat next to me at the petitioner's table. My father sat 20 feet away with his attorney, a man named Richard Halford. My father didn't look at me, not once. The judge was a woman in her 50s named Marion Keller. She reviewed the evidence in silence. The forged deed, the stolen notary stamp, Patricia Edelman's affidavit confirming she never notarized the document, the forensic analysis showing the signature wasn't mine. It took her 11 minutes. Then she looked up. "The court finds clear and convincing evidence that the quitclaim deed filed December 3rd, 2024, was executed through forgery and fraud. The deed is void. Ownership of the property at 4215 Cascade Avenue is hereby restored to Jessica Marie Brennan as specified in the last will and testament of Caroline Brennan, deceased." She banged the gavel. My father stood up and walked out without a word. David turned to me. "The house is yours." I didn't feel victorious. I felt exhausted. But it wasn't over. 2 weeks later, Sarah Ortiz called with an update. The forensic team had finished analyzing my father's laptop and financial records. They'd found something. "He kept a spreadsheet," she said. Every fraudulent transaction, every forged document, every account he'd opened, going back 6 years. Why would he document his own crimes? I don't know, control maybe, or he thought he'd never get caught, but it's all there. Names, dates, amounts. He didn't just defraud you and Kevin's mother. There are 11 other victims. 11. Most of them women he was in relationships with. A few were business associates. One was his own brother, your uncle. I didn't even know he had a brother. Ortiz walked me through the spreadsheet. The total amount stolen was over $400,000 across 13 people over 6 years. Some of it was loans. Some was forged checks. One was a fraudulent investment in a company that didn't exist. We're contacting every victim, Ortiz said, building individual cases. Your father is looking at 47 felony counts. What does that mean for sentencing? If he's convicted on all counts, he's facing decades. Realistically, he'll take a plea. The DA's office is preparing an offer, probably 15 to 20 years with the possibility of parole. I asked her something I'd been wondering since the arrest. Did he say why he did it? Not to us, but his attorney's building a defense around financial hardship and gambling addiction. They're going to argue he was desperate, not malicious. Does that matter legally? Not really. Intent doesn't change the fact that he committed the crimes, but it might affect sentencing. April 9th, my father accepted a plea deal. Guilty to 22 counts of forgery, identity theft, and theft by deception. Sentencing set for May 14th. Sarah Ortiz called me the day he signed. He allocuted. That means he stood in front of the judge and admitted on record to every crime. He confirmed the victims, the amounts, the methods, all of it. Did he mention me specifically? Yes, he admitted to forging your signature on the loan application, the credit card, the beneficiary form, and the quitclaim deed. He also admitted to using your personal information without authorization. I sat with that for a moment. What happens now? Sentencing. The judge will hear victim impact statements. You're entitled to submit one if you want. You can read it in court or submit it in writing. I don't know if I want to see him. You don't have to. Written statements carry the same weight. I spent 2 weeks writing it, 4 pages, single-spaced. I didn't talk about the money. I talked about my mother, about the house she wanted me to have, about the belongings he tried to take, about the trust she'd placed in him as a co-parent and how he'd used that trust to steal from her grave. I talked about the moment I found the forged beneficiary form, how I realized he'd been planning this since before she died. I ended with one sentence. You didn't just steal money. You stole the last thing my mother tried to give me, her protection. I submitted it on May 10th. The sentencing hearing was May 14th at 2 p.m. I didn't attend. David Greenberg went on my behalf. He called me afterward. 18 years. Colorado State Penitentiary. Eligible for parole in 12. The judge read your statement aloud. David said, "Your father cried." I didn't respond. There's something else. The restitution order. He's been ordered to repay every victim. $412,000 total. Your share is $92,000. Will I actually get it? Eventually, probably in small payments over years. The state will garnish any income he earns in prison. It's not fast, but it's enforceable. After the sentencing, Detective Kaminsky closed the case. He sent me a final email with a case file attached. 63 pages of reports, evidence logs, witness statements. At the bottom, he'd written a note. Miss Brennan, cases like this don't often end with accountability. You did everything right. You acted fast, you documented everything, and you trusted the process. I hope you find some peace in that. I printed the email and put it in a folder with everything else. In June, I drove back to Colorado Springs to deal with the house. It was still half empty. My father had taken furniture, appliances, anything he could sell quickly. I hired an estate sale company to clear out the rest. They sold what was left and sent me a check for $3,200. I kept my mother's things, the quilt, the jewelry, the letters. I moved them into my apartment in Denver. Then I listed the house for sale. It sold in 3 weeks, $478,000. After closing costs and paying off the remaining mortgage, I walked away with $231,000. I put half of it into a savings account. The other half, I donated to a nonprofit that helps victims of financial elder abuse and family fraud. I did it in my mother's name. Kevin and I stayed in touch. His mother, Linda, received $42,000 in restitution as part of the plea deal. It wasn't enough to save her house, but it cleared part of the debt. She moved in with Kevin. We met for coffee once in August. Linda apologized to me. I told her she didn't need to. We were both victims of the same person. She told me something I hadn't known. Your father proposed to me in 2019. I said yes. We were planning a wedding for 2020. Then COVID hit, and he said we should wait. I didn't know he was still married to your mother. She started crying. I'm so sorry. If I'd known, I never would have. I know, I said. In September, I got a letter from the Colorado Department of Corrections. Inmate correspondence. My father's handwriting on the envelope. I didn't open it. I put it in a drawer. 2 weeks later, another one came, then another. I didn't open any of them. In October, Sarah Ortiz called. Your father's attorney reached out. He wants to know if you'd be willing to visit him. No. That's what I thought. I'll let them know. She paused. There's one more thing. During the investigation, we found a 5th document. We didn't include it in the criminal case because it didn't involve fraud, but I think you should know about it. What is it? A will, your father's will, drafted in November of 2024. It was in the file cabinet we seized. I felt my chest tighten. He left everything to a woman named Angela Cortez. Not you, not Kevin, not Linda. Someone named Angela. Who is that? We don't know. She's not listed in any of his financial records. We ran her name. No criminal history, no obvious connection. But she's the sole beneficiary of his estate. Why are you telling me this? Because I think he has another family, and I think Angela Cortez might be part of it. I hung up. I pulled up a People Search website and typed in the name. Angela Cortez, Colorado Springs. 3 results. One was 72, one was 19, one was 46. The 46-year-old lived on Platt Avenue. I clicked her profile. The photo showed a woman with dark hair standing in front of a house. 2 kids in the background, a boy and a girl, maybe 8 and 10. I reverse image searched the house. It matched a listing from 2018, sold to Angela Cortez and Michael Brennan. My father's name, on a house I'd never heard of. I sat staring at the screen for 20 minutes. Then I closed the laptop. Some things, I decided, I don't need to know. It's been a year since that Tuesday morning when the Chase Bank email arrived. My father is still in prison. I haven't visited. I haven't opened his letters. I don't know if I ever will. The restitution payments come every month, $53, garnished from whatever he earns working in the prison laundry. At that rate, it'll take 48 years to repay what he stole from me. I'll be 75. The house in Colorado Springs sold to a family with 3 kids. I drove by once after closing. There was a trampoline in the backyard. My mother would have liked that. I still have her quilt. It's folded at the foot of my bed. What I didn't expect was how many people reached out after the case became public. Friends of friends who'd gone through something similar. A cousin who discovered her mother opened credit cards in her name when she was 16. A coworker whose brother stole their inheritance. Family fraud is more common than anyone wants to admit. It's the kind of crime that doesn't make the news unless the numbers are massive or someone dies. But it's happening quietly, constantly, in families that look normal from the outside. The hardest part wasn't the money. It wasn't even the betrayal. It was realizing how long I'd been making excuses for him, how many red flags I'd ignored because I wanted to believe he was just struggling, not stealing. I've thought a lot about that email he sent me in January, the one asking for a scan of my license and my signature. How easily I sent it, how little I questioned. Trust isn't supposed to require verification, especially not with family. But maybe that's the problem. The bank investigator, Vanessa Torres, told me something during our last meeting. She said most victims of family fraud wait years before reporting it. They try to handle it privately. They give the person another chance. And by the time they finally act, the damage is catastrophic. I reported it within 2 hours. That decision saved me, not just financially. It saved me from spending years wondering if I should have done something, from carrying the weight of his choices as if they were mine. If you're watching this and something feels wrong, trust that feeling. Check your credit report. Ask questions. Don't wait for proof to protect yourself. And if someone you trusted has already crossed that line, I want you to know this. Reporting them doesn't mean you don't love them. It means you're refusing to let their decisions destroy your life. I didn't lose a father when I filed that fraud affidavit. I lost the illusion of one. The real loss happened years before I knew it. The letters keep coming. I keep not opening them. Maybe someday I will. Maybe I won't. But either way, I'm not the one sitting in a cell wondering how I got here. If this story made you think, or if you've been through something similar, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe. I read every comment, and I'll see you in the next one.